What's up, Fantasy League enjoyers? Welcome to a new season. I'm a bit delayed on the start of the season, though, because I wasn't able to get my video out for the Blast Bounty playoffs. A bit of confusion set in. You'll notice I actually did release a video in the opening stage of Blast Bounty because I thought that was part of the season. It turned out it wasn't. And then I didn't think that Blast Playoffs was part of the season. As a result of that, then I was told last second it was. So I scrambled to make this team. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get a video out. Apologies for that. But we did hit top 11% on our start to defending our title. And I'm pretty happy with this overall. A bit gutted because an extra percent there. Top 10, I would have got 15 points rather than 12. But it's fine. And ultimately, I was saved by not fully backing Vitality. I wanted to get one Vitality player in the form of Apex. I was going back and forth, like, do I want to go for Apex? Do I want to go for Madja? How I wish I'd gone for Madja now. This team would be way up there in the top few percent. Didn't happen that way, though. But we did back Spirit because I wanted to back teams that were ultimately more of a known quantity in terms of what they've been bringing to the table. No roster changes. You're defending major champions at this point. The team probably the favorites coming into the event. And so I wanted to go for Spirit mainly. And then I just kind of dabbled. And I didn't go for Donk, who didn't get that many more points than Shiro, to be fair. He had a really, really good tournament. I was very impressed with him. Great value for money overall. And it allowed me to go for Wonderful, Hunter, and obviously double stack with Spirit. Wonderful started great in this tournament. And I think in the first game, he got me like 20 odd points. Let me double check this one. Where is he? Yeah, 23 points for Wonderful. Had a great start. And then things kind of went a little bit pear-shaped. They ran into Spirit, of course, who made short work of them in the semi-finals. And then in the grand finals, it was Eternal Fire versus Spirit, where Spirit got the straightforward win, although there were shaky moments for sure. So that puts us in 4th position. Obviously, it's only the first game of the season. A lot of things are going to change as time goes on. But we start with a solid, consistent top 10 to 15 position, which I'll be looking to try and propel going forward. So this is Katowice now coming up. Obviously, you're going to have Katowice play-ins and then the playoff afterwards where you have the Spirits, the Vitalities of the world, the G2s of the world waiting in the wings for them. So there are some good teams here, some of the weaker teams as well, and some teams where I'm really not too sure what to expect. But what we do know is best of threes to kick things off, and we know of the opening matchups, which will be Liquid and Heroic, Complexity, Eternal Fire. 3D Max take on FlyQuest, and Astralis go head-to-head with MIBR. So you're looking at which teams are going to make it through. There is a lower bracket system as well, of course. Keep that in mind, which will also be best of threes as far as I'm aware. Pain and VP, Saw Gamer Legion, Wildcard Big, and then finally Imperial Female back for another tournament, which is going to be very exciting to see, against Furia, who obviously aren't at Na'Vi's level. So this should be really curious information to see where are Imperial Female. Was it a one-off? Was it a case that they had all of this time to prepare for Na'Vi and could like really anti-strat them and everything? Whereas with Furia, now Furia is definitely going to have picked up Imperial Female on their radar and they're going to be looking to return the favor. So not sure what that's going to mean in terms of how things play out on the server, but at least it's another chance for Imperial Female to show us what they can do. Now, Liquid and Heroic, I think, is a bit of a tough one, I will say right off the bat. People asked me, by the way, in the last season if I could break down each game quickly before I get into my picks, which I will do. Liquid and Heroic is one of the interesting games for me, though, because I think Heroic actually far exceeded my expectations in Blast Bounty. I thought this team was a hodgepodge, a real mix-up of players that just felt like they were slapped together. Obviously, you had the core of Sangal, then you had Sun Pies thrown in the mix, and I wasn't really sure what to expect from them, with T-Near also coming in. But T-Near played up until a certain point, and then Madden replaced him. So Heroic looked good, though. Heroic looked sharp. Sun Pies in particular, very impressive. T-Near, when he was playing, looked pretty good. So I think there is upset potential here. I'm still not completely sold on this Liquid. I'm not sold on Twisters and IGL. I'm not really sure where the future lies with this team, personally. But that's in the future. In the here and now, I think there is a chance for Heroic to pick up a map and potentially get the upset win. I'm not writing them off. For that reason, I'm not going to go for any Liquid players because I'm not sure. And then even if they do beat Heroic and move through to the upper quarterfinals, Eternal Fire looked really good at Blast Bounty. Xantares in some of those games was honestly like up there with Donk in terms of his firepower. He was insane. You could even argue that Xantaras actually hit a high level in some of those matches. He was solo carrying. Woxic had a couple of good maps as well. And Complexity, still a team that is finding their way with Sixy and Nyx coming in. Obviously, they've lost Elige, as we've gone over multiple times now. But this is a team where I'm not too convinced with Complexity, if I'm being completely honest. And Eternal Fire, although it says 13th in the world, the way they played at Blast Bounty, you can honestly say that they're like a top 5 team right now, considering how much flux and how much like variables are thrown into the mix with roster changes and some teams not quite sticking the landing just yet. So I think Eternal Fire will face probably Liquid in the upper quarterfinals, and I'd imagine that Eternal Fire go through pretty comfortably if they play anything like they did in Blast Bounty. What I will say as a caveat though, I've been burnt many times by Eternal Fire where they have a great tournament and I start to believe and then brought back to reality. So maybe this is where that happens. 3D Max and FlyQuest is actually another really close game. I think FlyQuest are better than people give them credit for. You can see in terms of ratings, they're very close. Regali coming in as well to this roster is going to be nice firepower. It was a big surprise to me when he did join the roster. I wasn't sure what to think. And although 3D Max did have great moments last year, especially online, I felt like towards the end of the season, they started to trail off quite considerably. And so I wouldn't be surprised if FlyQuest got the W here. Astralis and MIBR, another very close game on paper. I think MIBR, they are getting better as time goes on. Insani, of course, is like the main heavy hitter you're looking out for. Safe, though, although he's on a 0.99 there, he's still a very good AWPer, still very capable. Astralis are in this weird kind of flux where I'm not really sure what to think of them. Stown and Yabi feel like they've been dropping off for quite a while now. And although Device is still amazing, obviously he's had his issues with mental health, which of course is never great, and I hope that he is going to be okay and like fully recover and is feeling better already. But there's all of these like moving parts where I don't really know like where they stand right now, and MIBR can definitely punish, probably slightly favor Astralis for that one. Pain and VP, amazingly close game. Actually, I'm going to be really excited to watch this. Look how close all these ratings are. I will say though, Pain did impress me at Blast Bounty, and I think VP and Electronic in particular have yet to really show me that much that gets me excited about this roster change that came in, or the 2 roster changes that came in. Now, of course, that's kind of harsh. It's a small sample size, but that's realistically what we've got to go off, right? Like, we've got to go off educated guesses and instinctual and gut reactions and things of that nature. And so I'm not fully sold on VP, and I was impressed with Davideus, especially for Pain. I thought Snow was really good as well, and surprisingly, Big Azera, who has been the main man, not just in terms of IGLing, but in terms of fragging as well, for the longest time on Pain, is now the bottom of the leaderboard. Not by much. It's not like he's an anchor or anything like that, far from it. But now you're starting to see like NQZ and Snow and even Coez like really step their level up with Davideus, so I'll go with Pain for that one. Soren Gamer Legion, it's hard to know really about this Gamer Legion roster because PR comes in. He looks very good in terms of stats, but obviously that was playing before Gamer Legion, before Flammus was sniped away. Saw also are like in this weird position where I don't have too much faith, if I'm being honest, with this roster. I think losing Arisdose and Ujerks might just be too much for them to deal with. So I think it's a 55-45 in favor of Game Legion, but it could go the way of Saw as well. Wildcard and Big, interesting game in terms of the fact that Big have been looking a bit sharper. Hyped when he was announced as rejoining Big. It's like people were rolling their eyes like, here we go again. He's in and out, in and out. But the first few matches he's played for Big, man, this guy has been on point with the AWP. He has been slapping people left and right. Tabson also picking up and playing really well. So I might even go for Big for that one. And then Fury and Imperial Female, I'm going to have to go with Furia. Even though Imperial Female did impress me against Na'Vi, I think that Furia would have taken heed of the amount of incredible adoration and support that came out. And I even saw Fallen and some of the other Furia players like touching on this and making tweets about it. So they're on their radar. And Furia don't want to slip up against Imperial Female and have like, you know, basically be their first big win. No team wants that. So Furia are going to be here. They're going to be, I'm sure, looking into the demos now, doing everything they possibly can to make sure that Imperial Female don't really get a look into this game. And it's really up to Imperial Female now. I want to see Anna perform. I want to see her pop off and show what she's capable of doing in this best of 3. There is a way forward, though. Like, Fury have had their issues. They're not an impenetrable team. They're not immortal. There is a way that Imperial Female could get a shock win, could get an upset win, but I'm still going to go with Furia for that one. So, with all of that being said, this is the team that I've gone for. I've stuck with the 2 teams I think have a pretty good chance of making it through all the way. And I've also taken into account some budget as well. I wanted to go for Xantares, but he was like 235. How much was he? I want to double check. Yeah, 235. So he's basically like donk levels of price, which I get because he had some amazing moments in Blast Bounty, but that's too much for me to justify. So instead I've gone for Jota, who also had some good games, alongside Maja, because Eternal Fire, I think, honestly, should crush Complexity. And if they play the same level that we saw at Blast Bounty, I mean, I think they just beat Liquid or Heroic. It doesn't really matter. Then you have Furia. I'm always a little bit nervous about backing Furia because they are a very streaky team, and I've been burnt by these guys a lot in the past. But no disrespect to Imperial Female, I think they're going to be outclassed against Furia. Furia, as I mentioned, I think they'll be doing even more due diligence to make sure that they don't lose and they don't have this upset loss early on in Katowice, that they want to make it through all the way and get to the playoffs of Katowice as well. And when you consider that Big and Wildcard are on the other side of that bracket, that they'll be the winner of that will be playing the winner of Imperial and Furia. I don't think they're going to be easy games, but I do think that Furia, on paper at least, should get the job done. It is a bit shaky though, but I feel that way almost about any part of this tournament. Like, it's very close in terms of the teams that are playing each other. When you look at the overall rating on HLTV, when you look at the individuals, when you look at form, when you look at roster changes and everything else, this is actually a really tough one. And then I've taken a bit of a gamble on PR. I'm going to believe Ash here that PR is a real deal player, that he is going to be a massive player going forward. It might be too early though to go for him, but 186,000 is really good budget and value for money, I think. Even if Gamer Legion gets slapped around and he ends up getting beaten and gets me some minus points, it's 186k, it's fine, as long as Eternal Fire and Furia do perform. So this is going to be my team for the Katowice play-ins. Comment below and let me know what you think of this team. And also, please do feel free to drop a like and subscribe to the channel as well. I should probably mention this at the start of the video. I've been talking to a couple people that know a lot about YouTube, and I've been trying to like build my YouTube channel up and get more active. Obviously, I did a lot of videos last season, and I plan to do the same this season as well to take you through the entire journey. Again, apologies for missing the first video, but if you could subscribe and you could drop a like, it helps the algorithm a lot, and it will help it push it out to more people that are interested in this kind of content about Counter-Strike and Fantasy League and all that good stuff. So it'd really help me, and it'd also help you guys as well. So thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.